King Christian IX was not only known as King of Denmark. Throughout his life, he also earned himself the nickname Father-in-law of Europe. You see, out of his 6 children he had with his wife Louise of Hesse-Kassel, 4 of them sat on European thrones, either as monarchs or as consorts. Through his 6 children, Christian was the grandfather of 39 grandchildren. Up until this day, his descendants still sit on most European thrones. Those monarchs include Margrethe II of Denmark, Charles III of the United Kingdom, King Philippe of Belgium, King Harald V of Norway, King Felipe IV of Spain, and Grand Duke Henri of Luxemburg. Former King Constantine II and former King Michael I of Romania were also descendants of Christian. Today's video will be the last of 3 parts in which we look at the fascinating lives of his 39 grandchildren. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, you will get to know the children of his daughter Thyra and his son Waldemar. Princess Thyra married Ernest Augustus, the Crown Prince of Hanover, with whom she had 6 children. Their eldest child was Princess Marie-Louise of Hanover, who was born on October 11, 1879. In July 1900, she married Prince Maximilian of Baden. The couple had 1 daughter, Alexandra, and 1 son, Berthold. Alexandra was killed in a bombing of Frankfurt during the Second World War. Princess Marie died in 1948. Next, they had Prince George William. He was born in 1880 and sadly died in an automobile accident while on his way to attend the funeral of his uncle in 1912. His younger sister was Princess Alexandra. She was born in September 1882 in what was then still Austria-Hungary. She married Frederick Francis IV, the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin. Alexandra was gifted a diamond and aquamarine tiara upon her marriage to Frederick. The couple had 5 children. In 1913, a fire broke out in their residence in Schwerin Castle while the family was eating with guests. Everybody gladly managed to escape, but Alexandra and Frederick had to run through flying sparks to make their way out. Alexandra died in 1963, aged 80. Her younger sister was Princess Olga, who was born on July 11, 1884. She died in 1958 without ever marrying or having children. Unfortunately, this was the only information I found on her. Olga's younger brother was Prince Christian, who died at only 16 years old. The youngest child of the family was Ernest Augustus, who was born on November 17, 1887. His father was the pretender to the throne of Hanover as the Prussians deposed him in 1866. With the death of his 2 elder brothers, Ernest Augustus became heir apparent to the Hanoverian claim and the Dukedom of Cumberland. In 1884, the reigning Duke of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel passed away without any heirs, and so the dukedom would have succeeded to the Duke of Cumberland, which was Ernest's father in this case. However, the then Imperial Chancellor Otto von Bismarck made sure that the dukedom would pass to Prince Albrecht of Prussia instead. This mainly because Ernest's father never officially abdicated the throne of Hanover. When in 1912 Ernest's elder brother passed away in an automobile crash, the family received a condolence letter from Kaiser Wilhelm II personally. To thank the Kaiser for his letter, the family sent their only surviving son to Berlin. There he met Wilhelm II's only daughter, Victoria. The two fell in love, and despite the marriage being controversial, they got their way and were married on May 24, 1913. Their marriage ended the long rift between the houses of Hohenzollern and Hanover. In addition, it was the last major gathering of European sovereigns before the outbreak of World War I. A few months later, Ernest's father renounced his claims to the Duchy of Brunswick in favor of Ernest. On November 1, 1913, Ernest became the next Duke of Brunswick. Ernest and Victoria had 5 children together. With the end of the First World War came the German Revolution, which forced Ernest to abdicate his throne on November 8, 1918. Ernest and Victoria continued to live mainly in Germany even during the Second World War. He died in 1953. Next we are moving on to the children of Christian IX's youngest child, Prince Valdemar of Denmark. He married Princess Marie of Orleans, with whom he had 5 children. His eldest son was Prince Age, who was born in 1887. Age and his siblings grew up inside the Yellow Palace in Copenhagen. In 1909 he joined the Danish army, and by 1913 he was a lieutenant. Age served during the First World War. Without asking for permission, Age married Mathilde Calvi and therefore renounced his place in the line of succession, as well as his title as Prince of Denmark and the style of His Royal Highness. He from then on was known as Prince Age, Count of Rosenborg. The couple had 1 son. In 1922, Age entered the French Foreign Legion, where he served in Morocco. During his service, he was shot in his left leg. Age died in Morocco, where he was buried at the French Foreign Legion's headquarters. His younger brother was Prince Axel of Denmark. Axel was born in 1888 and later served in the Navy, where he reached the rank of admiral. In 1919, he married his first cousin once removed, Prince Margrethe of Sweden. Out of all of his brothers, he was the only one to contract an equal marriage. Unusual for such marriages, the wedding couple was deeply in love with each other. The marriage resulted in 2 sons. Prince Axel was the godfather of the current Queen of Denmark, Margrethe II. Axel was the chairman of the board of the Scandinavian Airlines system. Further, he was the president of the Royal Danish Automobile Club. Axel died in 1964. Next we have Axel's younger brother, who was Prince Erik. He was born on November 8, 1890, in the Yellow Palace in Copenhagen. Erik chose to marry a commoner by the name of Louise Francis Booth. He was therefore required to renounce his rights to the Danish throne. They were married in Canada on February 11, 1924. The couple had 2 children and were divorced in 1937. Prince Erik died in 1950. Next we have Erik's younger brother, Viggo. Viggo was born on Christmas Day, 1893. Like 2 of his brothers, Viggo also married a commoner by the name of Eleanor Margaret Green. He therefore also gave up his title and style as well as his place in the line of succession. Viggo was from then on known as Prince Viggo, Count of Rosenborg. With his wife, he had no children. Viggo died in 1970 as the last surviving grandson of Christian IX. We are approaching the end of this 3-part series as we cover the life of Princess Margrethe of Denmark. She was born on September 17, 1895 in Bernstorff Palace. Margaret was the first Danish princess since the Reformation to be raised in the Roman Catholic faith, as her parents agreed that every son would be raised in the Lutheran faith and any daughter in the Roman Catholic faith. In June 1921, she married Prince René of Bourbon-Parma. René was a brother of Empress Sita of Austria. Together with him, she had 4 children. One of their children, Princess Anne, married the deposed King Michael of Romania. The family was relatively poor compared to other royalty. With the outbreak of the Second World War, they had to flee to New York, where Margaret made a living by selling hats. Her husband worked at a gas company, and their daughter worked as a shop assistant. After the war, the family returned to Paris. In June 1951, Margaret and her husband were traveling by car when they ran over a 22-year-old man who tragically passed away due to his injuries. Margaret lived until 1992, dying at the age of 97.